welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button. My name is Ashley Robin, and I am an up-and-coming artist with a side interest in the real-life horrors associated with the dark side of human psychology. As my returning listeners already know, in my videos for True Crime Time Hop, I am recording out loud, just making note of where my subscriber count is for at the time of each recording. I recorded my previous video today also because I'm playing catch up, but when I said my subscriber count earlier, it was less than now, so that's pretty exciting. And the thing that really excites me about it is, up to this point, the only subs that I had on here were people that I messaged individually on social media and asked to sub for the sake of having somebody to help me tiptoe into this so I have more than zero, and somebody to see what I'm doing and give me feedback before I make anything public. So to have people finding me through the algorithm that I don't know before I even started trying to promote it is super validating, and I am so happy to have you here. I appreciate your patience as I find my rhythm here. I know there's a lot of cutting in my audio. That's because I'm stopping every few sentences and going back and tweaking as needed and re-recording as needed. I'm also playing with the idea of adding some ambient sound in the background along with the little keys that I have here and there. I was gonna just make a whole different audio track, but then I decided, you know what, I kind of don't really mind it. I think it might be okay like that, having the keys just really quiet, and maybe adding on some rain or a thunderstorm really distant in the background on top of the keys. But I'm kind of just throwing ideas out there. Who knows, maybe by the time I decide to edit this later, I'll just throw that in and roll the dice on it. But anytime that you see me making changes as I'm trying to figure out how to do this thing, please feel free to comment and let me know, because you basically have my whole future doing this in your hands. I am giving this 30 days where I want to post consistently every day. And then after that 30 days, I'm going to start promoting it, and I'm going to give it 30 days while I promote it. And if I don't have a significant increase in my following by then, and hopefully subscribers on my Patreon, then I don't know if I'll be able to continue to validate doing this. But for now, I am going to go for the gusto. And another thing that I would love some feedback on by those followers that like to be interactive would be, what do you think of the visual? I kind of am doing the minimalistic thing on purpose. I kind of feel like it fits with my whole vibe, and I don't know about you, but when I listen to my true crime podcasts and YouTubers that I follow, I do it at night to relax. I know that that's sociopathic, but it is what it is. I'll probably eventually make this audio available as a podcast, but honestly, just getting established on YouTube is enough of a project for now, so I'm going to focus on that. And I do have, when I record this, I do it as a video, so I do have a video that goes along with this, but it's me sitting in my car, and there's really not much to see. So for those that are listening to this at night, a black background when there's not something significant to show you just seems like it works. And if you feel a different way about it, please let me know in the comments. But anyway, that's definitely enough talking shop for right now. I am on my second video recording for one day. I'm super tired, and it's gonna be another long one. Not long, but longer. So without any further ado, I welcome you to episode 4 of True Crime Time Hop. Warning, the following content may be disturbing to some viewers. If talk of murder, sexual abuse, and other acts of human cruelty trigger you in any way, please exit the video and prioritize your mental health. Viewer discretion is advised. Today is January 17th, and on this day in 1935, Kiyoshi Okubo was born. on the Takasaki Gunma Prefecture. I am going to butcher. Oh my god, I'm gonna butcher the English language too in this video, apparently. I am gonna butcher all of the names and all of the place names in this video, most likely, but I'm gonna try my hardest, so please bear with me. So anyway, Kiyoshi Okubo was a child of mixed race with a Russian mother, and he was often bullied in school, especially after Pearl Harbor, because his unique, non-Japanese features looked American to his peers. As the child of an engineer, he had a privileged upbringing despite being one of 8 children. His father was a deeply disturbed man who was known to have had several affairs, and he would even have relations in front of his children. Ew. As a result of being exposed to that at home, Okubo would often act out in school. When he was in 6th grade, he took a 4-year-old girl into a wheat field and stuffed stones into her private parts. She told her parents that he told her he was playing doctor. When her parents confronted his parents about what had happened, they stood by their son and told them that he was just playing doctor. Fast forward through 6 years of repeatedly failing in school and at work due to lack of motivation to show up and do what he had to do, and it brings us to age 19 when he moved back home with his parents. His dad gave him money to start a radio repair business, but he failed miserably because he was not any good at fixing radios and he was getting tons of complaints. He stole electrical parts from 8 different stores and was arrested, but his daddy bailed him out, so he didn't have to worry about the situation, and his dad paid off his damages. At that point, he basically gave up on adulting and decided to con his parents into paying him allowance while he pretended to go to the university. He instead took the time to hone his skills as a pickup artist and just an overall perv. At 20 years old, in July of 1955, he took sexual advantage of a 17-year-old girl on a park bench. He was arrested but given a suspended sentence of 3 years due to it being his first offense. And this is the problem. Rape is never taken seriously enough. Look at how they, don't get punished. This is why they feel like they can just continuously do it. In December of that same year, he attempted to do the same thing to a 17-year-old girl, but this time she got away and he was jailed for 3.5 years. He was let out 6 months early on good behavior, and then just months later, in April of 1960, he attempted to rape a 20-year-old college student, and his father paid her off to stay silent. In 1961, he met a woman who he completely fabricated a story about himself for, claiming to be a 4th-year university student among other lies. The following year, they were married and had a son. Fun fact time, he also published a book of poetry at this time. By 1965, they had a daughter too, and he started a milk shop. A delivery boy stole a couple bottles of milk, and Okubo tried to extort him and his parents for money instead of calling the cops. So they called the cops, and he wound up going back to prison. During his year locked up, his wife learned who he really was, and she found out all about his deviant past. So she left him, and he lost his business. When he was free from jail, he chose a life of crime and debauchery since he was free to do so. In 1966, he took sexual advantage of a 16-year-old girl. Just months later, a 20-year-old girl suffered the same fate, though she knew him, so she was able to ID him to press charges, and guess where he went? Back to jail again. When he got out in March of 1971, he found that his wife was refusing to take him back, which caused him to become enraged. He started a reign of terror, taking sexual advantage and murdering multiple women. I won't go into the specifics here for the sake of brevity, but I will list the names and the ages and dates wherever the information is provided. All of these dates that I'm about to list are in 1971, within just a couple months. His first segue into becoming a murderer was Miyako Suda, who he killed on the 31st of March. Then, just a week later, on the 6th of April, he killed Mieko Ogawa, who was 17 years old. Next was a girl only named Eiko with no last name listed and no age, but she was actually only abused sexually and allowed to live, so I'm assuming that's probably why they concealed some of her information. Next, the girl unfortunately was not so lucky. Her name was Chieko Ida. She was 19 and she was killed by him on the 17th of April. And then, the same day, he killed Sieko Kawabata, who was 17. And I'm sure I'm probably butchering these names, just bear with me. On the 27th of April, he killed Akemi Sato, who was 16, and then on May 3rd, he killed Kazuyo Kawaho, who was 18. On May 9th, he killed Riko Takamura, who was 21 years old, and the next day, he made his last kill, who was Miyoko Takanohashi, who was also 21. Before Riko's disappearance, she told her friends that she was going to be meeting up with a painter that was driving an ice cream colored Mazda. So when her brother heard of this, he launched his own investigation. He discovered that Okubo fit the bill, and Okubo was telling people he was a painter. He had bought all kinds of supplies and loaded up his car with them just to convince people that he was that, so he could play a ruse instead of actually doing something with his life. He basically stayed on top of him until the proper authorities detained him. He was arrested on May 14th of 1971. Kiyoshi Okubo met his end when he was executed by hanging on January 23rd, 1976.